Respiration involves the exchange of gases in our lungs with the external environment. So this exchange takes place in millions of tiny air sacs, which are also called as alveolar sacs, that are present in our lungs. As you can see, these sacs are surrounded by the blood capillaries, so the exchange of gases takes place here. That is, oxygen is transported from the alveolar sac into the bloodstream, and carbon dioxide is eliminated and of course carried by the blood. So this all occurs between these alveolar sacs and the capillary network. As you can see, the capillary network, the red one carries the oxygenated blood and the blue one carries the deoxygenated blood. So first I'm going to talk about the oxygen transport and then the carbon dioxide transport from the lungs to the oxygen is mainly transported in two ways in our body. So the first one is as dissolved in the blood, and the second one is through RBC. So I'm going to discuss them one by one. So 3% of the total oxygen is transported as dissolved in the blood. So what actually happens is that oxygen in the blood is dissolved in the plasma, which is a component of the blood, and carries oxygen to the different cell of our body. So the second one is through RBC, which is 97% of the total transport of oxygen in our body. RBC are most abundant cells of our body, and mainly they contain hemoglobin, that is no nucleus and no other cell organelles. So mostly RBC is filled with hemoglobin. So what actually is hemoglobin? Let me tell you. It is made up of two components. The first one is heme and the second one is globin. So heme is responsible for carrying oxygen and consists of an iron ion, which is Fe2 positive, and oxygen binds with this Fe2 positive and form a complex, a coordinate complex, which is also known as oxyhemoglobin. So mammalian RBC, or we can say mammalian hemoglobin, carries 4 molecules of oxygen, that is, each hemoglobin molecule will carry 4 molecules of oxygen, but it can vary in different species. So this reaction shows clearly that the hemoglobin binds with the oxygen and form a complex that is known as oxyhemoglobin. So these are the mainly two ways through which our oxygen is carried from the lungs to the different. Carbon dioxide is the waste product of our cells that is to be excreted out from our cells, and it is mainly done in these three ways. So the first one is as dissolved in the blood, and the second one is as carbonic acid, and the third one is as carbaminohemoglobin. So let's discuss them one by one. So the first one is as dissolved. 7% of the total carbon dioxide is transported as dissolved in the blood plasma and is carried in the form of solution to the lungs, and from the lungs it, it is excreted from our body. So the second one is as carbonic acid. So 70% of the total carbon dioxide is transported as carbonic acid. So I'm going to explain what actually happens. So what actually happens, the dissolved carbon dioxide which is in the blood reacts with water and forms carbonic acid, and it is transported in the blood in the form of carbonic acid to the lungs. So this is the reaction showing carbon dioxide reacting with water and forming carbonic acid, which is this reaction is very slow in the blood plasma actually, but if it occurs in the RBCs, so it's really fast, it occurs really fast and rapid, and it's all just due to the presence of this enzyme that is called as carbonic anhydrase that speed up the reaction forming carbonic acid. So let's talk about the last and the third one as carbaminohemoglobin. So what actually happens in this one? So in addition to reacting with water, the carbon dioxide which is into the blood, the carbon dioxide directly reacts with the amino acid radicals of hemoglobin and form an unstable compound that is carbaminohemoglobin here. So this is the reaction. Hemoglobin reacts with carbon dioxide and form carbaminohemoglobin. So this was all about the transfer of gases, that is carbon dioxide and oxygen, in our respiratory system.